Welcome. What's up, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal. Thank you for joining us. I'm alongside Sean Reider, as I am every post-game for football, pre-game for basketball, although I shouldn't say Sean's there for every pre-game for basketball because he's not.
I was never a single one.
No. So post-game for football and weekly shows. And we certainly hope that we get your comments and questions throughout the show. And today we got a lot to talk about.
Plenty. A lot of very new stuff, actually.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on right now in the world of UNM Lobo athletics. We come to you every Tuesday afternoon after the weekly coaches press conference with Jason Eck, the Lobo football coach, of course, but also usually some Olympic sport coaches, volleyball, soccer, sometimes cross country and track. This week we were also joined by Eric Olin. UNM Lobo men's basketball coach spoke to the media as well, but there was also some news breaking that
in between football and basketball press conferences.
So Garnett Stokes, the UNM president, announced her retirement at the Board of Regents meeting today, and I don't need to tell you guys. Let's see here. New camera. Yes, there is a new camera. I apologize that I am looking as good as I am looking right now.
You're really crisp. Like, you're insanely crisp.
It is a new camera because it is a new work computer. For those that know, for the past 2 years that have given me a hard time as they sit in the stands behind me and I'm down on press row and I have all these vertical lines across my screen. I finally have a new computer. The Journal hooked me up with a nice little computer with a wonderful camera. And so, like I said, my apologies. This is what you get now. And anyway, today, the news that Garnett Stokes retired, obviously not a whole lot of reaction other than positive stuff from coaches at a coaches press conference about that. And that's what Eric Olin said. I wasn't actually able to hear what Jason Eck said about Stokes. Did he have some comments about Stokes?
Yeah, he kind of made the joke. He said, I'm definitely bummed. I kind of hope that me and Fern didn't run her off. And that was kind of his joke there. But no, he said a similar thing to Olin, right? Wasn't around her a whole lot, but at the same time, did a lot for the university in his eyes, and wished her a good retirement.
Yeah, and let's not forget that her role in athletics, obviously every university president's role in athletics is pretty big if you're not aligned, which is their little, I guess, in-house term that they all want to make sure they use. A lot of companies do. It's not just UNM, but the alignment from the president down to the athletic director the Board of Regents, really, the president, the athletic director, and then the coaches, all needs to be in place. Even if it's not, they're going to say it is. With her, though, she was not only kind of I don't want to say she was the final reason Eric Olin said he came here, but he already had good feelings about here. Mm-hmm. Then he talked to her, and it kind of confirmed what he was feeling. And
he said it amplified how he was feeling.
Right. It amplified how he was feeling, and it gave him sort of what he needed to sort of finalize it and say, yeah, the president's on board with athletics means, a lot at UNM, and that's what I needed to hear. And then he came here. So she also just in the past probably about 4 or 5 months ago, kind of spearheaded and gave the Board of Regents her approval for them increasing student fees for athletics. She was behind Fern Lovo being up in Santa Fe almost every day of the entire legislative session and backing that athletics will use the money you give us, Santa Fe, for the right things, to try and get us in a better conference, all those kind of things. She pretty much had to kind of give everybody yes, I can vouch for athletics in this regard. So she did an awful lot in the last several years for athletics. She was also the president of the board of directors at the Mountain West at the time that the Mountain West fell apart. Some people kind of question, well, if she was the president at the time, the thing is, the schools that broke apart, there was absolutely no way that anybody else, any of the other schools, were going to know that was happening. And she, obviously being at one of the other schools, didn't know that was happening. But look, Gloria at the Mountain West, the commissioner, and Stokes was the president and the president of the board of directors at the time when all that happened. They were handed some news from 5 departing schools, and I don't know if they did the best they could. Well, I think they did the best they could with it, but I mean, I don't know what they were expected to do with it, basically. Yeah. So
you're never going to end up looking awesome in that spot.
No,
regardless.
No, it didn't look good. I will also say that I wouldn't say the Pac-12 right now is looking particularly all that good either. the two Pac-12 schools right now in football. We're talking lost by a combined like 306-4 yesterday or this weekend.
I do have some thoughts on North Texas. I might be interested in an American future, by the way.
Okay,
I do have a couple thoughts on that.
All right, well,
we can get to that later though. Gambling corner.
North Texas is not the nice green; they are the mean green, and they showed that this weekend, just taking it to Washington State.
Something special might be brewing in Denton.
So yeah, I do like. I agree. I mean, like North Texas got something going, but I digress. The big news of the week still. Well, let me go over a couple of the other small ones. Then we'll get to the big. We'll get to the big news of the week, which is obviously something else.
Small news number one: Tomeo Ponds is having the best time in college of anybody ever to go to college.
Yeah, Tomeo Ponds, the Lobo basketball team. He is the 6'7", 8 or 9, depending on what measurement you see. And I have not yet seen him in person once, so I can't even tell you what I would guess. And I'm a pretty good judge of height at my 6'9" frame myself. So he is apparently, according to his coach, having the best time in college that anybody could possibly have. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the Lobo basketball team is enjoying life right now as sort of a team. Certainly not under the radar. Lobo basketball will never be under the radar, but they're not the only ones on the radar right now. And Lobo football is the main story. There was some news that I was able to push out. I had heard about it last week. I was able to push it out this morning. The Lobo basketball team has signed a home-and-home series with Washington State of the Pac-12 and exhibition capacity. They will be going there October 25th. Technically, the first game of the Eric Olin era will be against Washington State in an exhibition in Pullman, Washington. Washington State will be coming back to the pit next year to do this. The NCAA now allows for Division I versus Division I exhibitions. As such, there are teams like Kansas is playing at Louisville. Grand Canyon's playing at Baylor, so a battle of the Drews. Murray State's playing at Xavier, so we got former Lobo assistant coach Ryan Miller playing former Lobo coaching staff led by Richard Pitino at Xavier. There are some really high-level Duke, BYU's playing two of these. These now happen. This isn't all that uncommon in terms of what's happening in the landscape of college basketball this year, but it's never happened before this year, so it's uncommon in that regard. But everybody's doing this now. So the fact that UNM is doing an exhibition game on the road isn't a good thing or a bad thing. It's just how it happens now. They got a home-and-home with Washington State. It doesn't count on for anything other than that's going to technically be the first game. So let's get to it now. Lobo football is coming off of Friday night. If you don't know and you're watching this, I'm a little surprised because why would you be watching this if you didn't already hear this? But Lobo football Friday night beat UCLA 35-10.
Mm-hmm.
Since that time, UCLA has fired their coach, Deshaun Foster.
Fired him on Sunday?
Fired him on Sunday. And Tuesday afternoon is the first time publicly in front of microphones. Well, I guess he did Geoff and JJ Monday morning, did his regular show. Jason Eck is who I'm speaking of. But Jason Eck talked today to the media. Sean, why don't you kind of recap what Jason Eck said in terms of what's the aftermath been for the program and how do they move forward now?
Yeah, one of the things that did strike me after the game was him talking about he kind of thought that the bye week following the week after the UCLA game was kind of a good thing in the sense of, kind of gives the team a chance to kind of come back down to earth a little bit after a big win like that. And he thought that was going to be something that they kind of needed. And that was kind of the tone that he kind of had today. I don't think if you knew that they had just beat UCLA that you would have gleaned that from a lot of the comments that and the kind of general tone he had in his press conference today, frankly. It very much was, no, we still need to improve in a lot of different areas. We still want to keep getting better in particular spots and all that. And he rattled off a couple of that. We can get into a little bit of that soon. But no, the only things that really kind of brought it to the forefront were just the fact that we were asking about the fact that they beat UCLA. He was asked, I will give Will Weber credit on this one too. Again, I'm not bringing this up to, make any fans mad or anything like that or be a jerk. But it was a question that I was going to ask if nobody asked it either. And credit to Weber. He asked it. Obviously, Jason Eck has been linked to the UCLA job. He is a guy that I expect will be linked to a bunch of other P4 jobs. This is going to be a busy coaching carousel, man. I mean, the Virginia Tech job is open right now, too. Obviously, in addition to UCLA. But I think there's going to be some other really interesting ones probably opening up in the coming weeks and months and all that. And Weber asked him, and he said, well, he asked him, is there kind of a positive to being linked to that job at this point? He said, well, I think it's a good thing. If we were 0-3, I wouldn't be, popping up in that kind of deal, right? He's like, so it's a good thing in that regard, but, he said, look, I have an agent that deals with that kind of stuff. He's like, I'm not really interested in doing any of that during the season or anything like that. So it very much was kind of the proper, hey, like, this is the season where we're going to, focus on the games and all that. And then we'll get to, whatever maybe after and all that. So yeah, that was something that I thought needed to be asked. I'm glad it was asked. And I thought he gave a good answer. I don't think he didn't turn around and say, you're spoiled or anything like that.
Brian Kelly style.
Brian Kelly, man, what an awesome rant. In terms of actual hard news from the press conference, Keegan Johnson, wide receiver, missed the UCLA game with a head injury, sustained on that kind of deep ball in the Idaho State game. He said he kind of slammed his head a little too hard on the turf there, so he missed the UCLA game. Beat UCLA without Keegan Johnson, which is pretty impressive. And then Scott Trey Humphrey, who suffered what seemed to be a sprained ankle against UCLA as well, only played the first quarter. He said those guys are both on track to they should be back for the New Mexico State game. So obviously we're on the bye week right now, so the New Mexico State game will be on Saturday, September 27th.
Are you going to UCLA, by the way?
What's up?
Are you going to UCLA?
Say it again.
Are you going to UCLA?
Wait, did I say UCLA?
No. I'm asking you if you are going because the comment says.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Oh my. Sean Reider for potential job at UCLA after the Locked On UCLA show is circulating through Twitter. LOL. First, it's Coach Alford, then Dent. Now Sean Reider.
You out of here? Got some news to break?
I am not out of here. No. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea. I can't even wrap my head around like living in California. That's not a political thing. That's just like a financial thing. Like I just don't know with the wages in the newspaper industry how that's totally doable. But regardless, no, I am here.
I want to get back to ice real quick before we start setting up a little bit more of the NMSU stuff because this does that. Did we think UNM would be 3-1 going into week 5 with the win against NMSU?
No, we didn't.
Well,
I think we all said 2-2 was probably a nice win there.
Yeah, 2-2. Also, yeah, I know I'm the Aggie, but like to think that the NMSU game, just because they're coming off a bad loss at La Tech, is a gimme would be not only naive, it would be foolish for a bunch of Lobo fans to just start assuming this will be a win. Now, talk all the smack. That's what this is about. But NMSU does have 2 wins, including a Division FBS win. I'm basketball guy talk. This is the first time since 1992 that both teams will have a winning record going into this game. Mm-hmm. First time since 1964 that the 2 teams have had a winning record in this game here at University or in Albuquerque. And was it University Stadium even in 64?
Yeah, because University Stadium was actually, I'll double check that.
Yeah, somewhere around that time. But anyway, the point being, like NMSU, like, look, is UNM the better team? I will absolutely say they are. Are they so much better that they're going to go into this game with very little chance of losing? Not a chance. Like this game, even when UNM has been better, has gone to the Aggies in some years because UNM maybe just wasn't as prepared as NMSU. And NMSU, who has a coach certainly trying to, he's not in the same spot as Jason Eck right now, that's for sure. I'm not saying he's quite on the hot seat in Tony Sanchez, but like there's some people like wanting to make sure that Tony Sanchez can do good at NMSU. And right now the Lobos are sitting on a UCLA win for 2 weeks. I kind of guess they're going to handle it well, and they're going to be just fine with it. But that's no gimme with college kids either. Yeah. Like they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and they were all back in Albuquerque on Saturday, and probably a bunch of them got together and probably watched that NMSU game just because it's the next game. So I'll bet you at least a few of those football players on the Lobo team who are feeling pretty good about blowing out UCLA in the Rose Bowl watched NMSU get handled pretty well by La Tech. Mm-hmm. And you tell me what you think a bunch of college kids are going to do when they see that, and they have 2 weeks to be patted on the back and told around town how good they are right now and how things have changed.
As a 19-year-old myself, that would just go right to my head.
Right? Right. I mean 17-year-old Sean Reider is telling you. Like
I started this job when I was 14.
Yeah. They they're all getting on their TikToks. Their tickety talks and doing the
they're listening to that X gonna get you song.
Yeah, Eck is going to get you. And anyway, point being, I don't chalk up the NMSU game as an easy one for UNM. I think UNM certainly will be and deserves to be favored. It is a home game, and they are a better team.
I have not watched the entire copy of NMSU La Tech at this point. From bits that I saw, it's not like NMSU played amazing. I think the general vibe that I kind of felt was, hey, whoa, I like what La Tech's doing here. And I think La Tech's a pretty all right team. That's not the easiest place to go. Cruises to Ruston?
No, not at all. It's kind of like going to Pullman, as I'm finding out. Anyway, I will say this about UNM. If UNM can do one thing all year long, they're going to be in a whole lot of games, and that's run between the tackles like they did against UCLA. The problem is, I don't know if every team's going to just sit there and take it like UCLA did, which is shocking because UCLA has some big boys up front, and they have some talent. They just were so undisciplined. I don't know if it was all about poor coaching, poor technique, but like they have some guys that are supposed to be pretty good up front, and they did not look it against the Lobos in my mind.
I think at a certain point, and this is not me dumping on kids, I think there was you can go back and watch. I think there was some real
white flag. They were giving up.
There was some quit, man. I mean, there was some real quit.
There was certainly some quit late in the game. I've heard a lot of Lobo fans say like, "Oh, it could have been worse. It could have been worse." I suppose, but it also could have gone the other way. If you're going to take if had this happened, the Lobos would have had these many more points. Well, yeah, had UCLA done a couple things, it would have been a lot closer too. So, take 35-10 and don't worry about trying to prove that it could have been even worse or anything like that. Like, that's a hell of a win. It made national news. As Jason X said last week, there's something to be said for being that one late night, the last game on a Friday night. There are football teams around the country sitting in their hotel rooms watching, either playing video games or watching whatever football game is left on. And the last one on TV on Friday night was the UNM Lobos beating the crap out of UCLA and leading to a firing. So
there is something to be said too, that the Friday, I totally get what he's saying and absolutely made an impact. Like, I will say, like, as a guy that consumes a lot of college football content and listens to a lot of college football podcasts, there were some that just didn't even mention it because they're like, hey, we're on LSU, Florida, we're on Tennessee, Georgia, and all that. And that's completely their right. And that's what, frankly, a lot of people that are tuning into that show want to listen to. But I was a little like, just kind of glossed it. And really, it was Foster getting fired that brought it back into the picture.
I was going to say, the turnaround on the late Friday night game to the Saturday games that are important nationally.
It gets swept away.
It gets swept away real quick. But he's not wrong in that I'll bet you a whole bunch of eyeballs were on it.
Exactly.
So they saw. They know. Let's move to a couple other ones here. Let's see. Coach Eck has expectations for the team, and it's not just coach speak. But he expects 40,000 fans at University Stadium at the NMSU game. Is he crazy, or can this become a football team?
I'll say this as a guy that listens to just about everything X says publicly, and even privately every now and then. I've not heard him say he expects 40,000. Yeah. I mean, I think he said like sellout and all that. I mean, so sellout is basically 39K.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about.
I don't think he expects it. I think it's more like, hey, let's sell it out.
Yeah, let's sell it out. Let's sell it out. He's using that phrase. I've heard him say, we should be getting 20 in there. I've heard him use that number once.
I think he said, I'll double check this right now.
And for this one, I think he should go for 30. I think he said 30.
I think on this one, he did say, if we don't have 30K, I'll be disappointed.
Okay, so the over-under that Sean and I set on the show Friday night on the post-game show, and I think it's still a good over-under, is 30,000.
His quote was, I'll be disappointed if we don't have 30,000 people in the stands for New Mexico State.
Okay, so 30,000. The last time these two teams played here, I think it was 29K. Point being, UNM is riding high right now. My problem with this turning into from 17,000 in game one to people wanting to just throw out the 40,000 number, or even passing 30,000 with comfort or ease in game two at home game number 2, is that like it just doesn't happen that quick anywhere. It just doesn't, right? Yeah. Like, people had their chance for the opener and only 17 came. So like, you're not going to find 13,000 more people. You're not going to almost double the size of the home crowd, of the first games crowd. You're not going to double that in 2 weeks' time just because it's a rival. Now, you might have had a chance had NMSU been really good. NMSU will bring from fans and graduates and alumni in town 3,000-4,000. I don't know what the numbers are, but just bear with me in terms of like the scale here. If they bring 3,000 or 4,000 fans that are going to come no matter their football team's good or bad, if they were good and 3-0 and like coming off a big win, and this was a 3-0 Aggie team, I think that they would have brought 7 or 8 or 9,000 fans.
Yeah.
And you add that to a UNM base of 20,000 or so, you're 22,000, you're going to then clear your 30, right? Now, if NMSU only brings about 5,000 fans, that means the 17,000 that were here for Idaho State, you need to get that to at least 25,000. You need 8,000 more fans that didn't show up for the home opener to show up for this game next weekend, and hope that NMSU brings 5,000, and it may happen. If I'm setting the over under at 30,000, I'm going to go just under. I think it's going to get close, but I'm going to go just under 30.
I think that's a fair assessment too. If there are 30,000 people in the stands, at one point they should do like the Iowa Kinnick wave, but they're just kind of giving a thumbs down to Geoff Grammer in the press box. Like they should do that. Just turn around and just look right up. I'll take a thumbs
down over another digit.
So if it's over 30K, I'm calling on you to make that happen. But I think I have the same feeling as you with the
think
figures.
Under?
I think just slightly sort of under. If it's over 30K, I'll eat crow too. You can thumbs me down as well. I do want to get to this one last bit too, and you can talk about it as well. Is he crazy, or can this become a football town? To you, what does a football town mean to you in the context of Albuquerque becoming a football town? Is that consistent sellouts? Is it just plenty of team success? Like, what does that look like in your eyes?
Well, let me ask this: what football town has just sort of popped up in the past 10 years that wasn't a football town before? Because it's easy to say a football town like Lincoln. I've heard people say that, like, there's not much going on in Lincoln, Nebraska. Well, there's 50 years of tradition, plus more than 50 years. There's a lot more than 50 years, in fact. The tradition here isn't a football town. So you don't just become, because Albuquerque has the same demographics as Lincoln, you don't just become a football town, especially in a conference that isn't now the Big Ten. Prior to that, it was the Big 12, when the Big 12 was better than it is now. Mm-hmm. So if you could give me a like comparison to, is there a place in the country that's become a football town over the past 10 years?
Over the past 10 years, I don't know about that.
10, 20 years?
I mean, like, certainly, like, you know, like, if you want to extend the scale back, like, yeah, I think you can look at, like, Boise and, like, still feel pretty good there. I think
Boise's probably
the easiest and probably the laziest comp, honestly.
So I will point out that what Boise did was, you know, their overnight success was about 30 years in the making, too. And they started at the FCS level. They were dominant at a lower level. Then they came in and had success at a really bad conference in the WAC for a while. I said really bad conference. It wasn't that bad.
Wow. WAC slander, dude.
A little WAC slander.
Really?
I covered them in the WAC.
The WAC's had a hard enough time as is.
I covered them in the WAC and saw them, I want to say it's 55-10 or something against the New Mexico State team I covered that year.
I covered him in the WAC. Sean wasn't even born.
Yeah, Sean wasn't born yet. 13-year-old Sean Reider was not born when Boise State was in the WAC. Anyway, can it become a football town? That's relative to what you mean by football town. I do think that this can be a town. I think this can be a town that's 20,000 a game. And I think that's a pretty good goal to set right now. If you can start averaging 20,000 as opposed to 12 or 13,000, you're heading in the right direction.
Yep.
And if you can make that 20,000 start to touch the upper 20s and then 30,000 for big games, and you can start figuring out how to get some big games here that isn't just New Mexico State every other year. If you're playing in a bowl game, all that kind of stuff incrementally will add to this being a football town. I don't think, because of the tradition and because of the ease in which basketball can be more successful at a school that is financially strapped, frankly, I will say this will never be a non-basketball town. Can it be both? That's the question.
Good football does not erase a rich, awesome basketball tradition. Right. Like that. It
as
doesn't
good as
just
Kansas
take it
football
away.
Ever gets, Kansas and Lawrence will still always be Kansas basketball.
Yes.
So can you have both? That's what you're going for, right? And that's what Jason Eck has said. You know, that's what Eric Olin has said. That's what everyone has said is, like, we all need to figure this out. Like, it's not just about getting one sport really good, but man, there's no sport that has the potential for growth like football does.
Oh yeah.
So let's go. Let's move on. All right, Kanani. UCLA has fewer resources, more critics, and a $219 million athletic department deficit. Eck is committed to UNM, and UCLA is a boondoggle.
So it was mentioned earlier. I am forgetting the name. Sorry. The Lockdown UCLA podcast I went on yesterday. And I did talk about this a little bit too. I do think, and not to like keep doing this, we're 3 games in, like there's a plenty of season and all that too, to get through and everything. Like the coaching carousel hasn't even really started in earnest in the way that you kind of think about it. But you're right. I mean, I don't know about fewer resources compared to UNM to a certain point, but like they don't have a 100-yard practice field. Like they have 100-yard practice fields here. I'll say that. More critics, I think, is probably fair, but I don't know if that's always something that deters you and stuff like that. And then a $219 million athletic department budget. Yeah, no, a deficit. Yeah, they have been in the red for a hot minute. And that is pretty concerning from the outside looking in. Eck is committed to UNM, and at UCLA is a boondoggle. UCLA is definitely a boondoggle. I think Eck is certainly a guy that doesn't lack for confidence. I do think to a certain degree when it comes to the carousel and all that, I don't think he's going to look at a job. And frankly, look, he could take the UCLA job. He could not take the UCLA job. I don't think he's going to look at that job regardless and say, this might be the only crack I get as a P4 head coach and all that too, or anything like that. I think he's going to have other cracks at it and all that too. And he might think, hey, this is an opportunity I'm really interested in. And I also think there's some unique dynamics too, in the sense of people like, I tried to find a good way to put it yesterday and I had to think about it a little bit more. Like he is coaching his son. I mean, does he want to move his son in that kind of aspects to another school? Like, how does that play out?
Timothy Fuller says, great audio. First of all, thank you for that, Timothy. Like, that to me is the big news of the day.
This is some really crisp picture for you. I'm kind of blurry, but that's okay.
Jeff might have figured some things out.
You got in the lab.
Oh,
dude.
No. Happy learned to putt. How much longer is Jason our coach? So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Let me lay out the boring stuff that some people don't even like talking about. There is a contract in place, right?
Yes.
The buyout clause for Jason Eck in year 1, if he takes another job before December 31st, he will owe UNM $4 million. That's
the school
no
that's hiring him will pick up the $4 million, correct?
No. I mean, the school that hires him probably will tell him, we'll pay it for you.
Oh, yeah.
But by contract, the contract isn't with the school that may hire him. The contract is with
you're
Jason
right. But yes, the school will pick it up.
Probably. That didn't happen when they hired Paul Weir from New Mexico State here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But that was also
he also got a payment plan. Weird. It was weird. another show topic. Another show. But okay. December 31st is when his contract year ends. So keep that in mind, because a lot of coaching hires that's in UNM's favor. A tad bit. Most coaching hires happen in December for football. They try and get it done as quick as they can if you're making a move. And you don't want to wait till December 31st because of the way the portal works now. You got to get going, right? So December 31st, he is $4 million this year. Year 2, it's a $2 million buyout, which is still a pretty good buyout for a place like UNM. And assuming that he leaves because somebody is trying to get him and willing to pay that much on top of whatever salary they're paying, look, that's because UNM football is probably in a pretty good spot or had a pretty good season. Now, in year 3, it drops to $750,000. That's when you start, but that's fair. That's usually by year 3, buyouts tend to drop into the realm of, look, you're going to re-up me, we're going to get a new contract, or if another school really likes me, they can come and get me. That's fair. That's typical of most contracts. So there you go. December 31st, if he is picked up by another school by then, he will be owing UNM $4 million, which will certainly pay for replacing him and getting another coach in here that probably can be paid pretty well. $2 million in year 2, and then the third year is probably when you need to start worrying about it. Let's not get too far cart in front of the horse here.
Yeah.
They are 2-1. It is a 2-1 team without a league win right now. So if they go into Mountain West play and they were picked second to last, pretty much tied with Nevada to be last. Those two teams were so close in the point totals in 11th and 12th place in the preseason poll.
By the way, Nevada, Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, we're up 2 touchdowns at halftime. Nevada looked good. Nevada did not look good by the end of the game. That was bad. Middle Tennessee State's bad.
That
so
is not.
Apparently Nevada is too.
Ugh.
Point being, if New Mexico doesn't make this opportunity, doesn't do something with this opportunity that they've given themselves, then Jason Eck isn't exactly the hot commodity that Lobo fans fear he might be right now. So we'll see. You know, he was a coach. He has coached his 3rd game at UNM. Mm-hmm. He was available this past offseason, and who was coming to get him? Well, UNM was the job he got, right? So what changed in only 3 games time that would make a Power 4 school say, yep, now I'm convinced? Is it because they lost to Michigan, but it was close, 17 points? Is it because he beat an FCS school? Is it because he beat a UCLA team that was so bad they fired their coach 2 days later? In the big picture, this was huge for UNM. No raining on that parade. But let's just slow down a little bit on the Jason Eck to whatever Power 4 job opens up talk just yet. It is heading in the right direction, though. It's all headed.
And it is truly crazy because Eck is kind of like an anomaly, right? Like I talked with Matt Entz and Geoff Choate of Nevada about this at Media Days, like about how Eck was an anomaly. He wasn't a, FCS head coach that had to go be a P4 coordinator or even a P4 position coach or whatever to then go get a G5 head coaching job. And they were like, we don't ever really see that changing. We felt that we had to go get a different logo on our lapel to make that work for us. And that didn't happen. He was an FCS coach and then became a G5 head coach. And now we're in this interesting spot where it's 3 games in. It's crazy how quickly the coaching profile rises because it's not like people naturally didn't know about him. Everybody remembers the Oregon game last year. People look at the Idaho stuff and they're like, that is very impressive. So it's not like he's totally unknown, but certainly, yes, like that is, it's pretty crazy how quickly your coaching status can kind of rise and all that, or your coaching perception. So this will be a topic going forward, but ask John about Jonathan Smith to UCLA. Let's see what happens this week, man. Let's see what happens this week. I don't know. But I think, and this isn't even me, the Michigan State guy talking, like, I think Michigan State's a better job than UCLA. But anyways, I think it is. It's got better. It's got better resources. I'll say that. And you are the biggest show in town.
I am.
Wow.
Oh, you mean Michigan State? All right, back to the attendance real quick. Timothy Fuller saying 27,000 is his guess. Yeah, I think it'll be more than 27, but I think it'll be less than 30. So that's a little window there that I'll put it in. He also adds that we'll be heading into October, not asking about basketball. That's amazing. As somebody who covers basketball and knows when that shift usually starts happening, I agree with you, man. Like that is pretty amazing. I'll just leave your words as saying it here. We also got the any potential for a UNM president role. Ask Daniel Parker. Daniel Parker. Daniel Parker, search firm, landed Garnett Stokes at UNM. Daniel Parker, search firm, landed Fernando Lovo as athletic director at UNM. Daniel Parker, search firm, landed Jason Eck at UNM. Daniel Parker, search firm, landed Eric Olin at UNM. I'm going to suggest that if you can get Daniel Parker to give you a heads up on who the next president might be, that's probably your best get. Now, there will be a search committee locally put in place. They will be interviewed publicly where people can come ask questions, professors at UNM, faculty and staff. This will be a long process. A presidential turnover at a university is usually like a year-long process. People were mad that the athletic director search basically took 4 or 5 months at UNM. Trust me, this UNM presidential one, unless they were maybe the ball was already rolling a little bit and I just didn't know about it and nobody seemed to know much about it. Unless that was the case, I'm telling you, I just don't see a quick turnaround on the next president at the university. But we'll see.
Has Utah State hired the new AD yet? Has that happened yet?
Good question. I don't know.
I'm going to have to look at that.
All right, let's be honest. 1, Eck and his staff know how to coach.
No disagreements here.
2, Eck knows how to promote the program.
0 disagreements here as well.
He's all in, and that's what Lobo Nation needs from their leader.
Travis, I think you're right on all accounts. Like, genuinely, yes, like this is probably, in my time that I've been here, so 3 different coaching staffs, this is probably the best across the board. No, I don't think probably. I think to me, this is the best across the board coaching staff I've been around. And that's offense, defense, special teams. Like, there's a lot of guys that coach a lot of ball on the staff, and they're doing a really good job both maxing guys out and also taking guys that are pretty good to a different level as well and managing things too. And knowing how to promote the program too. Eck kind of talked about this today. Everybody loves his I in particular, even I really like them, the selfie videos. When he's on the road recruiting and he's at a Buc-ee's or he's, walking on the field before practice and all that too. Those are great videos. And he has a way with them in a way that I don't think a lot of coaches could pull that off.
Even
honestly.
Richard Pitino tried to do it a couple times. He's like, I can't do this.
I can't do this. He has a way with it. And he did talk about it. It was kind of funny. He's like,
Hey, Lobos.
He's like, hey, Lobo, I can't even do it.
Hey, Lobo Nation. Go Bows.
Whoa, that voice is not it. That is not it.
Nailed it.
That is not it at all.
And then he starts singing, I'm too sexy for my shirt.
Okay. All right.
No?
But
Interesting.
he did mention today that like every now and then he'll get a text from his personal assistant, Gianna, or oh my gosh, Casey Byers, who works Casey's creative.
Creative guy. He's the head of the multimedia stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw out a bad title there or anything like that. So that's why I asked for the clarification there. But yeah, every now and then we get a text from them. And it's like, hey, you haven't done a selfie video in a while. Like, can you do that? And he's like, yeah. And goes and does a selfie video. It's something he did at Idaho before too. So he does a good job. Very natural and organic. I mean, he did the coin toss for United on Saturday as well, and that was him. Like, he just wanted to go see the soccer game with his family. His 10-year-old son's really into soccer. So, that was.
If I had to say, by the way, what Casey Byers' title is, I would, if I remember correctly, I would say it's Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Relations. But that's just if I remember correctly.
Yes, if you remember correctly, he was at the state fair. He said he may or may not have thrown a little dough on one of the horse races.
On the ponies?
On the ponies.
All right.
He is a horse racing guy. He enjoys the ponies.
He does enjoy the ponies. All right. Well, Jason Eck is what this town needs. Jason Eck, like a whole lot of coaches, if he's losing, may not be what this town needs. Like, that's basically comes down to he's a lovable guy. That's a lovable shtick, if you will. It's who he is. So it's not just like a made up thing, but all that's endearing to fans and to a fan base when things are going well. And things are going well, so enjoy it. Like none of that's to diminish any of it. So
exactly.
Let's see here.
We didn't find out if things went well with the ponies. We should have done a little investigative journalism.
Yeah, if I was the football beat writer, I probably would already know. Lubbock popped up as a football town. Boulder popped up as a football town. I don't know about either one of those. I don't know how much I agree with those.
I don't know how much I agree with either.
I think Boulder was a pretty good football town back when Eric Bieniemy and Cordell Stewart and Rashawn Salam.
Mac, the head coach or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. That era.
Yeah.
Wasn't alive then.
Yeah, it was back when you were 6. No, it wasn't.
No, I was.
You were not
this
alive.
is when my mom was 6.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, as far as Boulder goes, Lubbock. Look, man, you pour enough money into it. Look, if someone wants to pour that kind of money into UNM Lobo football, maybe this can become a football town. But the amount of money they're pouring into Lubbock and Texas Tech football,
I can't speak to Boulder that well too. Lubbock is a place that has always cared about football too. It is, we want football like right and all that too. And they care about basketball a lot too, and they care about baseball a lot. But my read on Lubbock is that it has always been a place that has cared about football. That has always been the big dog in town. That's my read.
How about this read? Matthew Narvaez. I, along with some friends who aren't super into football or the Lobos, are planning to go to the UNM NMSU game. Coach Eck has fans and alumni excited. I can see over 30,000.
Matt, good to know you have friends.
Is that where you're taking from this? Really? That's where we're going with this, huh? Wow.
Matt texted me the same thing yesterday.
Did he?
He said there's a very positive vibe in the fan base that he is feeling.
Yes. I agree. There's a positive vibe.
Yeah, there should be a positive vibe. You just beat UCLA.
Yeah. There's been a the thing is, look, I'm a grumpy old man. Like, there's been positive vibes before, and you don't just start selling the place out. So 30,000 is a really close number. I think it's going to be right around 30,000.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to tell me 32,000, I'll definitely say under. If you want to tell me 28,000, I'll tell you over. So my window's shrinking, right? I'm still saying under
31 under, 29 over.
I don't know about 29 over.
Wow.
I'll keep it between a 2,000 fan window. How about that? Between 28 and 30 is my pick.
Wow.
Can you pin it down to 2,000?
I really hope somebody at UNM like cuts us into a promo. Like, yeah, you got to come to the Lobo game and prove this guy wrong.
Put me on the dunk tank and everybody can.
Dunk tank. Oh my gosh.
Richie.
X
said when he got here, he bought his house, unlike the last guy. So I'm hoping he stays at least 2 years.
Yeah, and look, and I don't.
With the housing market.
I'm sure we can probably find a way to ask this question going forward and all that too. I think we addressed it probably to the appropriate. We addressed it to an appropriate extent today with just the one question about it because it is so stinking early. But yeah, no, I don't know if he's a guy that's hey, I don't want to move again. Like, I don't want to move the family again. He has 5 children. Like, I mean,
yeah, the
one of
youngest
his sons
just started school, so like
the oldest just started grad school here too.
Yeah,
like,
so I'll say this in terms of like the spots in school that all his kids are at. One just started kindergarten. You can move an elementary kid.
One just started high school, right?
But one just started high school and he's a quarterback for his team. They did, when he took the Idaho job, Kimberly X stayed back in South Dakota for 1 extra year for Jackson to finish his senior year.
Yep.
Like their kids dictate a lot. So while they have shown Jason might move on, like the family would stay, and I don't think they want to do that again, where they split up for even just 1 year. And I know this because I had Kimberly Eck on the Talking Grammar podcast. Now seems like a good time to let everybody know that the UNM Lobo football team is now 2-0 since Kimberly Eck appeared on the Talking Grammar podcast.
2-0 with a historic P4 win too.
They've never lost in program history after Kim appeared on the Talking Grammar podcast.
Very impressive. Wow. Very good stuff.
Layden saying unless he gets fired, they still pay him, correct? Well, I mean, if they fire him, they still pay him unless he did something illegal.
Yeah. Or in violation of
NCAA rules.
Yeah.
If he leaves on his own accord, no, they don't pay him if he leaves.
He pays them.
Yeah, he pays them. All right, so let's not forget to mention how disciplined this UNM football team's tied into week 3 with least penalty. Oh, tied. I'm sorry, penalties. We were talking about this yesterday. Great show fodder. Tied into week 3 with least penalties, and number 1 lost the yards for penalties. So I'll say this: they had 3 penalties overall going in to the UCLA game in 2 weeks.
They had 4 against UCLA.
Yeah, so I mean, at this rate, if they're just doubling every single game, and now they're at 7 penalties on the season, they're going to have 14 next game.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, they're a very disciplined team.
They're disciplined, and that's a real strength. It has not been a strength around here for a hot minute and all that too. And I don't think it's going to be something that really fades throughout. I just don't know how much more I can talk about it, honestly. Like, it's something they're doing well.
Desert Lobo is asking, why does the NCAA allow the Virginia Tech and UCLA players to transfer right away? How are they supposed to feel the team? Is it becoming soccer with midseason transfers?
Well, no. It's not quite that. No.
They can't. They are not eligible to play for another FBS team this season.
Because the portal opens, it's a 30-day window after a coach is let go and all that. But it's not like they could just up and go to Florida. Well, frankly, they probably would go to Florida, knowing how that situation's turning out. But, like, I mean...
Bad example. How about New Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, it may be. But it's not like they can go there and then, like, keep playing or whatever. They go to, like, I don't know, Georgia Tech, and then like they're suiting up and ready to go for the playoff. Like, that's just not going to happen. And I'm seeing a lot of confusion with that. Yeah, frankly, over the last couple of days.
Yeah, players being allowed to immediately transfer still means once the season starts, there is no in-season stuff like that. You can't do that.
Exactly. Now, like, there is like Nico in particular. Like, Nico is a guy that some people have talked about. Maybe he will, like, it's speculative stuff, but maybe he will shut it down and just kind of sit this season out, put the name in the portal, and then he has a whole lot of, I can...
Well, here's another thing to remember. FBS football now allows a redshirt season if you don't play more than 4 games.
Yes.
You fire a coach in game 3, maybe a lot of players shut it down.
And that's something that I think that is going to be something for guys like Tim Skipper, and then Montgomery is the interim head coach at Virginia Tech. Yeah. I think for a lot of guys, it is just kind of, respect to Tim Skipper too. I think he's a pretty good coach, but it is kind of a deal now where if you're the interim head coach, really your kind of main focus is let's just keep these guys around. Like, don't enter the portal. Like, please keep playing. So the good and the bad of a situation for a player like that, though, is there are players that are going to be able to get a whole lot of reps and a whole lot of snaps to put on film for their next team, even if it's not theirs. Another question on the presidential search. Don't know. So, sorry, Rich, just don't know yet where the regions stand on that. I know they'll hire a search firm, and there will be a combination of a search firm and a local search committee, but that's all I really know. I want to stress, literally, we got this news not through release or anything like that. It was right in between the football and basketball press conference, and that was kind of that. I made one phone call on that, and that was just to clarify that somebody else who should be covering this knew about it, and that's it.
Watching Geoff decipher these comments that don't use punctuation is hysterical. Yeah. Yeah, it hurts. It felt like the same old coach coming in and probably lose the fan base after a while. And I know we're too quick to build statues, but since that Michigan game, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
It's
man.
been refreshing, and I think it was refreshing last year to a certain degree of Bronco. But even then, they started 0-4.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been extremely refreshing. I'm very happy for fans that they are. It's still a lot of ball left and a lot of things that can happen, but very happy the fans are getting to enjoy this.
Let me say this about last year, and this is hindsight. I didn't realize it at the time. Bronco got an awful lot of credit last year for turning around the feel around here, right? Like he was getting, like people were feeling good even when they were losing early.
Earn, not given,
all that good stuff, right? This isn't to take – look, coaches get all the blame, so I'm not trying to take away the credit they get.
Yeah.
But last year's team had excitement because there was a quarterback and an offense and an offensive coordinator and a couple of targets. There was a Wysong running all over the field. There was an offense that excited people like crazy that really probably had as much to do about the feel around the program as Bronco. Now, Bronco was responsible for that offensive coordinator. Bronco was responsible for that offense. Bronco gets all that kind of credit. But I think in hindsight, we look back at Bronco and the good feel vibes he created, even though they didn't even get to a bowl game, and kind of forget that that was as much player-driven vibe as coach-driven vibe.
Yep.
And we do tend to forget about that. We knew there were good players here. We all remember Donovan was great.
Devin.
Basketball guy keeps saying Donovan Dent.
It'll never die.
Dampier,
It'll never die.
Devin Dampier, Donovan Dent.
The DDs, man.
But point being that was a really player-driven vibe last year. So anyway, JT, you're not wrong though. Look, right now, Lobo football's kind of hit every stride, exactly how they're supposed to hit it.
Would you say it is more of a player-driven vibe last year or this year? Last year. Yeah, I think so too. And I think a part of that is because Eck has just been so out and doing stuff and taking selfie videos and doing all that.
But who's Devin Dampier on this team?
Yeah, there isn't that star quarterback. Now you do look the running backs as a whole, I think, are a pretty good shout.
After
Keyshawn James Newby is not a guy that I think a lot of Lobo fans.
Yeah, but listen,
I think is a guy that could be in that element of the defense.
After Michigan, we're like, oh man, Jack Lane's great because he took a beating. Oh man, game 2, Scottrey Humphreys as good as they said he was going to be.
Yeah.
Game 3, Jackson Eck wins Mountain West Player of the Week on defense. Like they've got a bunch of guys. This is a little bit more balanced maybe than last year's when it was Dampier.
Because it was Devin could keep you in a game with anybody.
Yeah,
absolutely anybody. But he could lose you a game and all that too. So you're right. Actually, I agree.
I know that pains you to say. Feels like we've got gut punches with coaches leaving by other circumstances. That just not leaving for money. With Bronco and Patino, that's true. So this is nice to see and hope they stay a couple of years.
We haven't really mentioned, I mean, if this is a good year for Eck and all that, would you think it would be fair with knowing this athletic director the possibility of getting a new contract?
Yeah, after year 1, I'll talk with him. You talk with him as well, obviously. But again, 3 games in is just so hard to put Fern on the spot,
right? Like because certainly he's happy with that result too.
Yeah.
But you still
see how happy Fern was with that, like the hugging and the "I love you, man" hug on the field at the Rose Bowl. Like this is big for Fern for a lot of reasons. He's leveraged a lot of donors to, hey guys, we need you, I need you, and it's paying off. So they're seeing that payoff, but also if you ask him to then go do that and ask for even more beyond that. 3 games into the season, like that's kind of pushing it, right? So,
exactly.
So look, things are going fantastic. I don't think that it is even on the. I may be naive here, but I would be shocked if it's really even on the table right now about a new contract.
Exactly.
What this is Jason Eck's agent calls Fern and says, "Hey, when probably checks in every couple weeks anyway." Agents still do that, by the way. Even when a contract is a 5 or 6 year contract, like an agent's still going to touch base with the AD every now and then.
Yep.
And when they do that, the agent's probably like, "Hey, a pretty good win, huh? Might need to be talking about that pretty soon." But I don't think it's "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Let's have lunch." I don't think they're doing that just yet.
Yeah.
So that's my guess. So that is all guesswork. All right, 27,000 was the last game, I think. Was it 29 or 27?
I'm going to look it up right now. Because it was high 20s, but New Mexico State. Let's throw another one up real quick.
Yeah, well, but this one's asking you a question. So it's any updates on recruiting? What's the big news? Well, the big news we were talking about was the university's president is retiring.
So it was 27,414. So it was lower than I remembered, if I'll be honest with you.
I thought it was 29 for some
reason. I thought it was 29 too.
So the last game here in University Stadium was 27-4, and we are now debating whether or not it'll be over under 30,000. And I'm sticking with just under 30, but man, I think it's going to be close.
What is the big news? What is this tied into? What's the other?
Oh, the big news question was we had said there's big news coming, and I just think that was the president. The university's president stepping down. I know it may not hit athletic, it may not hit fans all that deep, but like that affects everybody in the building we're at. That affects everybody that spoke today, all the coaches.
I will also add that Eka, he made the comment at the end, and it wasn't like it was him pounding the table or anything like that. Again, Brian Kelly style or anything like that. It's like, but yeah, like hopefully we can get somebody in that is also, pro athletics and all that too, just like Garnett Stokes. So.
Desert Lobo, I don't know the answer to your question if they're at the game, but since UNM women's soccer was at Santa Barbara and Fullerton over the weekend, do you know if they were at the UCLA game? I don't know the answer to that, but what I will do right now is this. 1 week ago, last Tuesday, I spoke with John Newman-Gonchar, the volleyball coach, when they were undefeated, and I spoke with Heather Dyke, the women's soccer coach, when they were undefeated, and UNM was one of 2 schools in the entire country to have their soccer and volleyball teams unbeaten at that point.
It was Nebraska was the other school, correct?
Nebraska was the other one. Nebraska and UNM, both undefeated. I wrote about that. Since then, women's soccer has gone 0-2. They went 0 for California, and volleyball went 1-2. So the combined record went from 10-0 and 2 draws for soccer. They were 4-0-2, and volleyball was 6-0. The combined record went from 10-0 to 1-4. That's the grammar jinx.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I've seen momentum get killed many times with the home loss when excitement. This is a good point. When excitement was on the ramp up. The next game is almost a must win for the Lobos in terms of building home attendance and momentum.
Absolutely. You are, man. Sean, I like how you spell your name too. That is, this is an excellent point. This is big.
The Sean spelling, huge. Look, in political terms, Iowa's the bell cow. They say, the straw poll in Iowa kind of tells how the presidential race might go. The NMSU game, almost without fail, tells you what attendance is like the rest of the season for UNM football. That is whether or not they're good and going to a bowl game like they were in the Davie years, or they're bad, but they happen to be NMSU. They can kind of still weather that storm just a little bit. If you lose to NMSU in University Stadium, fans quit coming. Yep. If you beat NMSU in University Stadium, that good vibe keeps some of those fans coming back. That's all it is. The rest of the stuff almost doesn't matter. Beating UCLA, you would think would matter more. Man, history tells you that only the NMSU game seems to matter in terms of attendance the rest of the year.
Live update from Athletic Director Fernando Lobo on Twitter, Lobo Nation, with 11 days to kick off. We've already sold more tickets than our first home game. How many more tickets? I don't quite know at the moment, but that is what Fernando Lobo has just put out there 12 minutes ago. Time of recording.
By the way, we are at the Todium Center, and the countdown to Cherry Out. Countdown to the Cherry Out is what the Jumbotron says right now. It's not a Jumbotron. That's a trademark name. The video board says the countdown is at 10 days, 23 hours, 2 minutes, and 26 seconds. And
it's actually 23 now.
And so it's 21 now. But anyway, there you go. Game's coming up.
Sean, very good point.
We have to put respect. Bronco broke the drought.
What drought?
I guess the Washington State win. Is that the drought you're talking about?
No, that is a good. That's a good. And look, like Bronco did a lot of really nice things here. He did.
He did, yeah, absolutely.
He did a lot of really nice things here He did a lot of really nice things here, and we gave him a lot of credit for it last year too. But yeah, we're kind of on a different deal right now.
Travis is asking if Eric Olin and staff are going to bring recruits to the NMSU game. I don't know, but I will try and find out. Sean said earned, not given.
I did.
Got a little, is that the hee emoji?
The desert knows no mercy. That was the other slogan they really liked.
I don't remember that one though.
That one they had on the sign out front of the Toadium.
What's the
The X slogan?
Yeah, what
it's
are X?
It's just championship behavior.
But they got the grit, the accountability, the 4 pillars.
Yeah, and I think those are like the pillars of championship behavior. So that's
and they really like the third down song. The X gonna come get you.
He's coming here. He's gonna get you.
X coming to get you. It's big for Fern because everything was inherited from Eddie. Man, you know who wasn't inherited from Eddie? Jason Eck. You know who wasn't inherited from Eddie? Eric Olin. You know what else was inherited from Eddie? Like poor attendance. So yeah, I mean, I know you've said that before. Eddie laid a fantastic foundation, but like to give Fern no credit for anything going on would be like to give Jason Eck no credit for anything going on. Like they both got here last December and turned over an entire football team. Anything that happens with basketball, like you can't say Patino set it all up because they had an entire staff and roster turnover, right? So anyway, JT's going for 40,000.
JT, I like it. Bold. I like that.
Yeah, you may like it, JT. It's just not going to happen. I'm a jerk. Sean, I hate to ask for a specific article, but would love to learn more about the few local kids who are playing for this team. Perhaps a homecoming idea?
Yeah, no, this is a good point. And David Murphy is a guy I have been wanting to write about for a bit, but you're trying to figure out the right time to do it. And part of that is there are some other guys in the defense I probably feel like I should maybe get to before I do David Murphy, but David Murphy is a local guy I certainly have my eye on and really do want to write about, and a couple other local kids too I want to look into. There's not a ton of local kids on this staff, on this roster.
I will say one guy who resides in Albuquerque that is on this team that's been playing pretty well happens to be Jackson Eck.
True.
Is he now a local? Do we now consider Jackson Eck a local? His family lives here. Where is he going for Thanksgiving?
Oh my god!
He's going home to Albuquerque.
He's going home to Albuquerque. You're actually right. But no, yeah, Murph is the guy I want to write about.
Gilbert is letting us know on YouTube that the next president needs to be on board with building the football team. Athletics is the front door of the university and football floats the boat. I agree with you, and I think almost without fail,
football is like more than athletics is like more than the front door of the university at this point.
Yeah, and I think most universities would tell you the same. That's why Stanford, that's why Cal, who have internally reputations and opinions of very high academic standards, were willing to join cross-country conferences because of the money that football leads an athletic department to make. There are not a whole lot of universities left who haven't been convinced of the economic value of getting football right in your athletic department. So I think you're right, Gilbert, and I think most universities are right. We'll see. We're about to find out, right? But I think you're right, Gilbert. You're exactly right. NMSU is a must-win to keep attendance up. It's crazy how that works, but man, it just
I've
is.
never seen anything like it anywhere else, where it's just like it's that one game that can really set you up or really tank you.
We got a prediction of 28,500. If that's the over/under, I'm going over. So I just shaved off another 500.
This guy's a menace.
I'm between 1,500 now. I've narrowed my.
This guy's a menace.
I have narrowed my attendance prediction down to within 1,500 fans between 28.5 and 13.
Let's put some stakes on this. You're going under. Would you go under 28.5?
No. I'm going over. I'm going between 28.5 and 30. That 1,500 window.
Would you go over 29?
No.
If you went under 29 and I took over 29.
Okay, so
if we put a bet on this.
No, I don't want to do that right now. I'm not comfortable with 29. I have to think about
if it goes over 29, like what? 29.
Hey, first of all, the guy who's still not eating a grape.
I'm trying to set up the grape bet right now. Like we actually need to attach the grape to something.
Why do I get it?
Because a lot of people are getting on me
I'll
about
eat a grape.
This. I know you will.
I'll eat a grape for every fan in attendance.
No, I don't know if you can do that.
Maybe not in one show.
I don't know if you can do that.
Through the course of the season.
Through the course of 5 years. I don't know, over 29. If I took over 29.
No, I'm not comfortable with that yet.
Oh, my God.
I narrowed an attendance prediction to within 1,500.
It's the great bet. I don't even know if I'm going to make you do anything.
All I'm saying is,
if you lose the bet, you have to make sure I have clear audio on our show after.
I can't promise. Man, I got a streak of like 2 going right now. 2 shows in a row so far. If this one's not even over yet, so
something could happen.
Let's knock on. What is this? What would you call this?
Marble?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Marble? Yeah.
Anyway,
Guy.
knock on wood.
Okay. All right. Let's get to a couple more.
What do we got here? What is the record for UNM game attendance? It's broken 40 before, but not often. I do think there was an NMSU game in the Rocky Long era that people keep thinking was like happening every year. That was in the 40s that didn't happen every year. But
2005, they have them down for 44,760.
How much?
44,760.
Wow. So 45, almost 44.7.
I'm trying to verify right now.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, we posted the stream. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, 44,760 is the attendance from, that was 20 years ago, 2005. The Lobos won 38-21.
So I'm going on with Jack Nixon down in Las Cruces tomorrow, actually.
Yo way, really?
We are talking, and I will ask some of you guys right now this question. We're going to talk about some of the better games through the years. I will tell you that when I was a New Mexico State student, this is going to endear me to all you Lobo fans. I watched in I want to say it was 99. I was up here in Albuquerque when Urlacher was returning punts for the Lobos, and just an all everything, and just one of the best college football players I've ever seen in person that season. But then he did fumble a punt return. He muffed a punt that led to NMSU winning that game. And as an Aggie student at the time, sports editor of the Roundup, that's one of the more memorable games I can remember. I know it wasn't a good memory for Lobo fans, but that was one of them. I know that there was also a time, as I'm spitting here now, that UNM went down to Cruces a few times and beat them when NMSU thought they had some pretty good teams. And Dontrell had a hell of a game, if I remember correctly. One of his games in Las Cruces was good, so I'll look that one up. But I got to say, like, I really think that this game, I don't know, how many times has this game ended up being a really big game in terms of what it meant for the whole season?
Oh, I mean, I'm probably not the person to ask.
Yeah,
I mean,
in history, right?
I'm 19 years old.
Pushing 19. You'll be there soon. Rick Wright's the guy to ask for the top games in program.
I would imagine Rick writes something about this too. Even if he doesn't, I think probably me needs to sit down and talk of Rick in some ways about the framing of all this too. But no, this is gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a fun one. The 2023 game was really fun. I know that wasn't a UNM win, but that was just a fascinating deal after and all that as well too. So.
You want to remind us what happened in that game? I can't really, or the lead up to that game and what happened after that game.
Well, yeah,
the game was just, the game might have been the number one story, but the number two story, no, the other way around.
Well, there was three stories. There's two stories outside of the game. There was the before, which we didn't know about at the time.
Yeah, that ended up being the number one.
That ended up being the number one story, yes. Diego Pavia, currently of Vanderbilt, who was also in the headlines today. He said he will not be playing a seventh year of college football, though. He said he will not be doing that unless he decides to change his mind in the coming weeks and months and all that, too. It was caught on tape, caught on video, urinating in UNM's IPF. And then after the game... Well, that
video had stayed private for so long until it leaked out.
Exactly. Oh, my God. And then after that game, Danny Gonzalez guaranteed that New Mexico would make a bowl. He made that guarantee. New Mexico did not make a bowl. They finished 4-8. Yep. And here we are today. Other news that came out today, just so you guys know, there was a lawsuit filed. Really changing course here. There was a lawsuit filed by the New Mexico Foundation for Open Government. What a funny sentence to utter after trying to force in a leak and number one reference of that. This guy's multi-talented. Multifaceted. New
Mexico Foundation for Open Government filed lawsuit against UNM Athletics Department and NMSU Athletics Department, technically the Board of Regents of both universities, is what the lawsuit is, saying both have violated the state's Inspection of Public Records Act for the release of, not NIL, of revenue sharing documents. The Foundation for Open Government has requested a list of players getting paid by the universities, how much they're getting paid, and all the terms of contracts, if you will, of what their terms are to get that money. The universities at both schools have, while NMSU initially told Nick Nunez of the Pitt Press that there was no that they didn't have the documents, and then they changed course on that. That's why Nick Nunez is a party to the NMSU lawsuit and not the UNM one. UNM did not tell him initially that there were no documents to be had. What both schools have done is said we are not releasing them because of FERPA, the Educational Records Protection Act, federal blah blah blah. Fogg is pointing out that these aren't necessarily by definition educational records, and they're still public money being paid to somebody. And if that was any other agency, if this was the Department of Motor Vehicles getting paid millions of dollars a person, then we as public would have the right to know that. Fogg is saying we have the right to know this as well. They are also saying it would be unfair release of some trade secrets. That comes into the argument of we don't want other schools in recruiting to know that we're giving $3 million, because then they can say, well, look, we're giving $4 million. We're investing more. They don't want those numbers out there for that purpose. Fogg is pointing out, no, that actually isn't a trade secret, really. Like, payroll isn't exactly a trade secret. That's what strategies are and stuff like that. Blueprints might be trade secrets, stuff like that, right? So those lawsuits came out today. Moving back to football. UNM was not aware of that lawsuit when I contacted them this morning, and said they would not have a comment because the lawsuits, while filed yesterday, UNM had not been served the documents yet. So there we are. This is not uncommon, or over the next year is not uncommon to what will happen. This is one of the first ones I think officially filed in the country, but a lot of schools that use public money to pay these athletes now, as they are allowed to do, are going to be facing lawsuits if they don't want to disclose where that public money is going, and that includes to paying players. So, all right, back to football. What do we got to do over the next week? What does a bye week look like for a Jason Eck football team?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take it a little bit easier in some ways, but they said they're not going to be starting up. This isn't going to be like, hey, we're going all New Mexico State from the get-go, right? We're just going 2 straight weeks New Mexico State. This week, it's going to be way more of, okay, Eck said he wanted to challenge the position coaches, like, hey, find a couple things that your guys, like, you want them to be better at, they need to get better at and all that, and focus on that for this week. Keep repping that, doing during team periods and individual and all that stuff. Work that out. So it is not full bore. They are not full bore. They're not immersed in New Mexico State stuff right now. I'm sure next week it will be a bit more of that too, head into the rivalry game. But this week they're going to take it easier and while still getting some quality work done, or hopefully quality work, and try and get a couple guys healthy too. Scott Trey Humphrey, Keegan Johnson are kind of the big names there, but I'm curious to see if CJ Johnson, backup safety, will be in a position to maybe work his way back. But yeah.
What was the ASU game attendance? I don't know off the top of my head. 2019 UNM pick 6 to seal the Cruces. The win in Cruces was great. Also, Brian Urlacher returning punts is hilarious. Imagine telling that to a head coach in today's world. Yeah, seriously. What you know of Brian Urlacher right now, and Sean, I know you know this by now that he returned punts, but think of Brian Urlacher, the Chicago Bear, which is what most people know, right? And say, okay, Gunner, you got to go tackle him when he gets that punt. Like, yeah. And what head coach is putting Brian Urlacher back there to return punts right now?
Oh, I think a couple would. I think a couple would. That kind of mold, right? Like our ultra athletic, like DB, essentially. Like, yeah.
He was a middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but he wasn't a middle linebacker all the way for New Mexico. Like,
man, he was a big boy by the time he left here. He was a big boy.
Yeah, because what year was that game for you? Was that 98?
2019, I believe.
No, not 2019.
I'm sorry, 98. Yeah,
yeah. I was like,
2019.
Hey, how could I forget that Brian Urlacher came back for one game in 2019 after retiring from the NFL?
Remember? You remember?
Wow.
You remember? You're in New Mexico now. You remember?
I was 5. I didn't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We got 2 construction questions. How about let's throw these out there? What other renovations are they doing for University Stadium, or did we tap out already? For the season, yeah.
Yeah, this season, no. I mean,
they're not building anything else. I mean, so we're looking at the field right now. I mean, some tents up, but I don't know. Fernando Lovo in the next week will actually talk a little bit about what they learned from game 1 and what might change to game 2.
Yep.
And as we hit the home stretch here, Desert Lobo has a comment. Has any of the construction on the Johnson Center included upgrades to the volleyball facilities? That's a fair question, man. I don't think they have. And I can tell you this. I don't know that volleyball is entirely on board with this, but I think the ultimate goal is to get volleyball into the pit. I don't think they want it. I don't think basketball necessarily wants it, but I think that is what is ultimately going to happen. You got to remember, even though it's university, athletics pays to rent Johnson Gym for its volleyball team. They have to do a transfer because Johnson, the whole facility, Johnson Gym, Johnson weight room there, the swimming, all that stuff is for the students, for the general student population. And they can't just close down Johnson Gym all the time. They need the gym open sometimes for the students. So anyway, point being, is any of the renovation affecting volleyball or improving volleyball? I don't know. And I'm telling you, I think there's a chance that they try and move volleyball into the pit at some point. Soon, in fact.
Soon.
Have you guys heard what the uni configuration will be for the NMSU? I have not.
From what I can kind of tell, I think you could imagine probably some turquoise.
You think it'll be this game?
I think it's going to be that game.
You heard it here first. It could be turquoise.
You might not have heard it here first. I think somebody else has already kind of tweeted about it at one point. So, yeah.
They said it'd be this game?
They strongly hinted that it would be.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't be this game, but there you go.
That was a conversation I had. I mean, it makes sense to burn it on this game. When other games would you pull them out for? Would you pull it out for homecoming against Nevada? What else would you kind of do?
Well, if it wasn't Idaho State, Bronco? Would you pull out the turquoise for Bronco?
Maybe.
No,
We'll see.
It's this game. It's got to be.
I think if you lose this game, though, in those uniforms, it's not tough, but it's a little...
This one's for you. Darren
Agu, man. He's pretty good. I think he played just over 20, 21, 22 snaps, which is honestly pretty impressive. I was not expecting him to show up and immediately start playing. It's a credit to him. The guy really worked hard to stay in shape while he was in England and all that, too. He said last week, I mean, he got in on Friday, and he was not this last Friday, the UCLA game, but the Friday before the Idaho State game. He got in, literally went straight to the indoor practice facility after stopping off the locker room to change, did a conditioning test, and then was so jet lagged after. He's like, I'm going to the team hotel. Just went right to bed. And I thought he did pretty good, man. I think there's certainly some room for improvement, but for a guy that literally is playing his first college football and just coming off the acclimation period and some, not insignificant amount of time, man. I mean, he was back in May. I thought he was pretty darn good, and I thought, pretty much everybody up front.
I thought he played like a bulldog.
I don't understand this reference.
Dare I say a British bulldog?
I don't understand this reference. I don't get this.
Please tell me somebody watching this stream right now knows who the British bulldog is.
Wrestling guy.
You don't have to be a wrestling guy. You just have to be over 12.
It's not that. I don't think that's it though. Like,
he played like a bulldog.
If we walk out to the practice field and poll every UNM football player, how many know?
They're all teenagers, or they're all 20.
No, they're over 12.
Yeah, that's true.
He was good, Gilbert.
I thought he played like a bulldog. Man. He was a bulldog out there.
Grammer is putting these wrestling references out there.
He's a British bulldog.
I don't know what that is.
Jason Eck would put the MLB put the middle. I'm sorry, MLB. I was thinking Major League Baseball. I'm looking at Isotopes Park, just so you know. I'm walking over there I'm driving over there because my car's over here. Anyway, I'm going over there. This is the last week, by the way, of Isotopes Baseball in Albuquerque. They lead the PCL in attendance and are currently in last place in the PCL. So they have to win 4 of the final 6 games this season to finish outside of last place in the PCL. They are playing the second to last place team, Reno Aces. And 4 wins moves them up to 9th at the Topes. 3 wins or less keeps them at 10th because they have an uneven number of games, so it won't be a tie.
Pretty interesting, actually.
There you go. So, back
Jason
to JT.
Would put the middle linebacker, Brian Urlacher, back to return punts. Please ask him that next time, Sean. I think
that's a good question, actually.
I actually think that would be a fun one. I mean, well...
his son,
they had Jamar Tassi doing some interesting work
his son's
too.
A huge Urlacher fan. Like Urlacher is his favorite player before he was ever the UNM coach.
Because
apparently,
I think Jackson is a Bears.
I don't think Jackson is. I think
I think he's a Vikings fan. Because all of the kids are different NFC North fan bases.
That's correct. I learned that when Kimberly Eck joined me on the Talking Grammar podcast.
I learned that just by okay. All right.
Did I tell you that they've never lost a game since she was on the Talking Grammar podcast?
JT, that would be a fun question, and I'll have to find a way to work that in at some point. Desert Lobo 72 is Tulane the G5 favorite for the CFP? If so, I predict they play BYU in first round. I don't know if I think they're right on South Florida's heels. I think Tulane might be better than South Florida overall. That's my read. We're only 3 games in, but I do think that it's probably South Florida as the front runner at this point. The American is. Can I throw this out here right now? Can I just run through it quickly?
Yeah.
Okay. North Texas, 3-0. Just ran through Washington State. Ran through them.
Here we go.
Multiple interceptions from Jackson Potter. Huge win.
They're not the nice green.
They're not. They're the mean green. There might be something special brewing in Denton because their conference schedule in the American, really their big games are they go this week, they go play Army at Michie. So on the road.
I'm sorry, who?
Michie Stadium. Army.
Okay.
Is that how you say it?
That is exactly how you say it. And I was totally thinking you were making a Michigan reference, but trying to sneak it by me by saying something about Michie. Calling Michigan Michie.
I will never call Michigan Michie.
No,
that is ridiculous behavior. But I'll get through it quickly. They play at Army this week, and then they host Tulane, I think, in October. Those are pretty much their 2 big games in the American. They have a preposterously easy schedule for what the American is. They do play Navy, but they get them at home too. I'm not as high on Navy. I think Army on the road is definitely a bit more of a trap game there, considering the results and all that. I think North Texas is a very interesting candidate in the American, just because of that schedule and all that. And if they can keep, I think they are an interesting candidate because of that schedule. Yeah. I think to this point, just off of teams proving it, yeah, South Florida and Tulane. I mean, Tulane has the 2, the P4 wins, albeit over one bad Northwestern team. But how much? I think Florida is like, on account of their defense, is a better P4 team than Northwestern. We could probably argue a little bit with Duke and all that too. But no, I would say South Florida. So, anyways, Gilbert.
I hope the Isotopes lose so fans come to the football game. United too, for that matter. Isotopes have been losing for 11 years. They haven't had a winning record. So there you go. United didn't have a win from mid-June until last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. There you go. There are no game conflicts in terms of time, but in terms of dollar, Isotopes are done this week. Win or lose, they're done this week, and next week there will be no Isotopes to contend with. United does have home matches though, still this season. So there you go. Desert Lobo is pointing out that is asking when is the United Stadium set to be ready, and how much annual revenue will UNM be losing? I can tell you in terms of the stadium, who knows? They've been around, it seems like a decade already, and they were supposed to have a stadium in 3 years. And who knows? If they had just paid for their stadium initially, it would be done by now. It's not. So I don't know how to answer the United Stadium question, because there's still so much public funding and public hoops that they have to jump through. And I know some people will argue with me saying public funding, but no, when the public still owns the land, there's still public issues and public funding that has to get taken care of. But they will be building the structure on top of that public land, and that has not yet started. So it won't be next year. United will still play at Isotopes Park next year is the expectation. As far as what UNM revenue will be lost, I don't know what they get for parking. They own the parking, but they don't get any money for United playing home matches other than parking revenue. So that parking revenue for Isotopes and United matches does go into the UNM budget, and I don't know what the split is for the United games. Isotopes have far more fans through the course of the year than does United. United may average more per game. I think they're at around 10,000 fans a game and lead the USL in attendance. They also have 16 home matches. The Isotopes, 168. I think they have 60. So what are they? 150 games, so 75 home games a year, and they average like 6,000 or 7,000. But over 75 games, they get thousands and thousands and tens of thousands more fans than do United through the course of the year. And Isotopes parking generates far more revenue for UNM than does United. Can't answer that question basically because I don't know when the stadium will be built, but it's not expected for next year. All right, Jason. I'm going to call you Sean for the rest of the show. Sean, let's wrap it up. We will be back next Tuesday. In terms of the In terms of the bye week,
we should pick a random college football game on Saturday and just do a post game after. Maybe North Texas Army.
North Texas Army.
Something special brewing in Denton.
We could talk about this and as though it was going to happen, but I bet you it's probably not. What we should do is show up to a high school game with James Yodis and hand him a microphone.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
And see if he could talk for an hour and 19 minutes without us even joining in. And I'll bet you he could.
He definitely could. That would be awesome.
He could.
No, yeah. We'll be back next Tuesday.
That's
unless we do either of those things.
Just pop.
Yeah, you popped a little bit. And that'll be a big one.
It'll be popping off next Tuesday too.
That New Mexico State game is huge. A lot of fan interest, and it's something that UNM could really build on. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's see too in next Tuesday's show if we can get some New Mexico State fans to drop in some comments about that show. Maybe we could get a 10 to 15 minute segment next Tuesday afternoon with one Nicholas Coppola.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I'm gonna have him on the pod, and I might be hopping on his show too.
Nice.
That's not a might. I definitely will be hopping on his show.
Interesting. So he has people just hop.
Hop.
Dad joke. I tell my 6-year-old dad all the time. She's like, Dad, or my teenage daughter's like, Dad, I'm gonna hop in the shower. I'm like, oh, be careful, it's slippery.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in today and producing.
Goes over well at home too.
Producing our show for us, even amid dad jokes like that. We appreciate you all tuning in. Been a good couple runs of shows. We haven't had a lot of technical difficulties. We've been I think we've been bringing it a little bit too.
Kids these days, they know all about this technology and give me a hard time just because I can't program my VCR. Do you know what a VCR is?
Yeah. No, we had multiple VCRs growing up. I like VHS tapes.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Join us next show when we talk about Sean's favorite VHS tapes and why La Bamba isn't one of them.
Oh, I think we had a La Bamba VHS.
All right.
I think. Obviously,
you didn't watch it.
Obviously, never watched it.
Next Tuesday, we'll be back, guys. Thanks for joining us. Check out all the stuff. It's not that just because they're on a bye week doesn't mean Sean is. Sean will be.
I will plug this right now, too. I have a mailbag call out on my Twitter. If you have any questions we did not get to in today's show, anything else that pops in your head, please go find that tweet and respond in the replies or DM me or send me an email at srider@abqjournal.com. I've got some pretty good responses on that, but we'd definitely like to fill it out a little bit more. So if you have any pressing Lobo questions, please send them my way.
I'll be doing podcasts at some point again, too. Talk to you later, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.